Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's live Q&A session with me and Mr. Chris Palmer, sponsored by the news guy. The link is below. His face is up there and all around there. But Randy is good for digital PR services, so you can go and get your press releases and stuff like that done there. And the link is below. Just tell me you came from this particular live stream, and we'll try and hustle them for some commissions.
Chris, yeah.
You threw me, Chris, with what you said you had for me there. I'm just
I'm sorry.
But yeah, I hate people who do that and then don't tell you, and you have to wait like an hour to.
It's going to be good too. You're going to be happy.
Good.
Session's over. See you guys.
But folks, if you do have questions, please do put them in the chat. We're here to answer whatever the hell it is you want, digital marketing related, and we'll do our best to answer it to the best of our ability. Or if you've got something to share with us that you want to tell us about, but we're also open to that. So, or even if you just give us a hi and let us know where you're from, that is also useful so that we know that people are still watching. Christopher Amaral, we'll come to your question in a wee second. But let us know where you're from, pile the questions in. We'll do them on a first come, first service basis. So don't be impatient if it takes us 5 minutes or so to get round to your question. We'll just do them as they come in. But we do have the first question, Chris, from Christopher. What are the best use cases for GBP map embeds? I've seen folks use them on the homepage, location pages, as well as guest posts and press releases. So what is your answer to that, Chris, in terms of embedding that map listing?
So we're trying to add value to the end user, right? Trying to get engagement on the page wherever we're sharing it out, whether that's PR, whether that's a guest post, whether it's on our own website. Generally, though, for us, we're going to utilize the directional map. So, this is going to be helpful. Plus, this is what Google utilized. So the best use case is to be very selective on where you place it. Make sure it can actually generate some type of traffic for you.
Yeah.
But as far as like a ranking boost or whatnot, nah, not for me recently. I can tell you that. We tried that, blasting out to hundreds, 1,400 news sites most recently. No effect.
None whatsoever.
No, not just that. No.
Yeah. It's the traffic on the GBP. I keep still wanting to call it a GMB, but the traffic is the key indicator there. But if those guest posts, press releases, or whatever, doing a guest post and targeting a keyword and leveraging, the power of that website to drive traffic to that map listing, I would be doing it all day long if you can. Yeah. And Vivash Kumar has put a dot, but if you've got a question, Vikash, then put it in the chat,
please,
and we'll do our best to do it. It always takes a bit of time to warm up, but whilst we're waiting in the warm up, are people piling in, Chris? What else is new? Have you came across anything new, exciting that you can share?
As far as SEO is concerned, just some video stuff I've been working on. Not necessarily, not that I want to share. I've been doing some traffic testing, really some video testing, anchor text and tiered link building testing, just trying to see when looking at, say, Ahrefs or Majestic or Moz, when you're building a tiered link to, say, X profile, what's the DR or AS score that goes up on this site that it's linking to? Like if I build to a tiered link, does it push here as far as score is concerned? And then on top of that, do I start ranking better for those types, whatever the anchor text was? Do I get better ranking? That type of stuff.
Yeah.
But really video's been what's been most keeping me up, you know. On top of that, nothing. Just working on the mastermind, getting some tests, redoing them in PDF, segmenting it out so it's easier to get to. I switched to Zoom finally.
Oh, really?
After 2 years, yeah.
What were you using before on the mastermind?
Just straight Google.
Fuck's sake.
Google Meet, go into a drive, and then other than the people that are in the group, like people at like 20 emails a day. Hey, let me get access to the file. You know?
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
How do you do it with Zoom? Do you keep them loaded on Zoom?
No, I put them on a spreadsheet. Yeah, I mean, they are loaded. I had to, pay for the extra storage on Zoom. They are there as well. So on the spreadsheet, it's just got the link to the cloud recording on Zoom with the password and stuff, just to try and, eliminate people being able to just freely share it or whatever, or pop it in their YouTube or whatever. Just because there's people like probably in your mastermind, they're sharing semi-sensitive data, maybe talking about a client of theirs, and we just don't want that shit published on someone else's YouTube channel. So try and use a bit of security there with the URL and the password, and it's touch wood, it's went reasonably well. So yeah, it's just about, as I say, I don't care for what I say the mastermind being shared on YouTube. It's other people's data and things that people may not want to share. That's the main thing for me. So trying to protect that's the important thing. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I had the Zoom costs, because I've got fucking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos on there now. I think there's 300 plus from the last couple of years. It works out quite expensive on a monthly basis for the.
That was my next question. How far back do you keep? Because in Google Drive, if I transfer over everything, I think there's 750 plus gigs.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how many do you just keep the most recent year, or?
Oh, I've got them molded.
All of it, even the old stuff from last year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably at a point where I may need to remove some of it because some of the shit's dated, and I would hate someone new to come to the mastermind and go to some of the more dated shit. That may no longer work, and then they're going through. But again, sometimes people like to go back and certainly in my mastermind, we keep it topic by topic each session, so we're not talking about 5 things in the one session. We're talking about Google Maps today or whatever, and the full session will be on that, and then the next day it could be fucking social media. The next day it could be whatever, how to find niches for your affiliate ventures and stuff. So it's kind of broken down like that for me, which works well as well. But I think people do go back and try and watch that shit as well. So
yeah. Do you think that's reasonable though? The last 12 months?
Yeah,
that's more than reasonable. Yeah.
I mean, I have always, where I feel I've been fucking robbed, if you want to call it. I've had people join the mastermind and they will join it for a month or two and then fuck off, and they've got 300 videos to get their teeth into for very minimal payment. So I don't think that's necessarily fair. What I don't want to do is just give new people to the mastermind like the last 3 months or whatever. But I think overall the last year would be more than sufficient, man.
Yep. Last year, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, I like Zoom. There's too many buttons though.
Yeah,
like there's too many. Like, oh my gosh.
They regularly change that shit as well, so it can get confusing. So all I know is how to share, how to end the call, how to end the recording. That's all I need to know.
That's right.
But Jimmy, is asking, he's embedded an image from his GBP on his website. Is that useful for ranking his Google business profile?
No one thing is going to be the thing that takes you to the top. That could be one piece. I can run impressions. I can run traffic. I can click over. You have one image. Awesome. How many more can we get? How much traffic are we getting? Are we getting clicks? What else do we have there? It's one thing. Can it be helpful? For sure. But is that going to be the thing? Nah. No. Yeah. And then also too, just the embed by itself is useless. It's all about the traffic. Am I getting traffic there? And then two, you embedded it. How close is that to a hot link? Very close. Very. Okay. Fair enough.
But are people likely to go from your website to the GBP whilst they're already in your website? Would be the big thing as well, you know.
Google's tricky though. You may want to take a look at it'll say VED and VID. So VED and VID, it will say, and it'll say like on click, like make sure you get that, embed that whole thing. Mm-hmm. All right. So that way you get the attribution. Don't keep any other codes, but make sure you have those two codes inside of the hot link. All right.
Hopefully for sure. Next up, I own a service business with an existing domain and site that's doing well. However, I've acquired an EMD for best service and city. How would you recommend using this asset to power up their existing website?
Well, you're starting from ground zero. So you have an exact match domain, and that's really, really amazing. I don't know what the niche is. I don't know what the location is, right? However, but if it's something very, very easy to run up the ladder, I can potentially not only get traffic and clicks and phone calls from this asset, but I can also maybe push some relevance over to my main domain. But besides that, you have a brand new domain that's exact match. You know, put the content on, optimize the main page, start building links to it so you can link over. The objective is to get traffic and link juice over to the other asset, or just rank that one. As a caveat, maybe you might want to get something that is already producing some type of traffic or has a boatload of referring domains, you know? Yeah. So just the domain isn't usually enough.
Nah, for me, I get the EMD for you know, your best service in your city. You know, it seems appealing, but I think Chris is right. You know, if you can leverage something that's got history, power that, you know, you can utilize, then it would stop you from having to build that fucking thing out. It's just not, exact match domains don't have the power they once did. I do believe that it helps to rank, but I think, you know, the time and effort that would go into that is problematic. Whereas, you know, getting something with some referring domains is just that bit easier. So that's normally the route I would go down as well. Lily, hope you're well. Jonesy is here, Mr. William Jones. Excited to hang out at WasCon later this month in Manila. Looking forward to it myself.
Yeah.
And on that note, Chris, I cannot do this session next Wednesday because I'm actually flying to Dubai next Wednesday. I'm going to Dubai from the 18th to the 25th of September, wow. And then I fly to Manila on the 25th. I'm going to top up my tan, Jonesy, enjoy the sun, and also just fucking break up that trip. You know, Kazra, who's also speaking there, Kazra flew out. Kazra's got a girlfriend out there, but Kazra fucking flew out the other day. He's already out there, man. But
living it up.
His time zone's all over the place, dude. He's messaging me like on the UK time zone. I'm like, dude, do you ever fucking sleep? And he's like, whatever, but it's all over the place. So I think going to Dubai, which is 4 hours ahead of me, just breaks me in.
Monotony.
Yes. And not fucking doing that full trip because it's going to be even worse for you, Palmer. It's 10 times worse for you.
Oh, it's brutal.
Are
you staying at the Palm Jumeirah? Are you staying right on that little island?
No, I'm staying at the Palm. Yeah. I thought you meant
not the hotel.
Yeah. No, fuck that. I've had my stint in there, dude, and
I stayed there once. I'm good.
Nearly collapsed when I got my bill when I was leaving. The
$20 a drink. I know. That was for water. No.
Yeah. But excited to get to Manila. I know you were there last year, but if anyone's watching, World of Search Conference is on in Manila, the 26th to the 29th is the dates for it, and it's for me. It's I've never seen the Philippines. It's a combination of obviously meeting old friends like Jonesy, but also a bunch of new people, but also just to see what the old Philippines is like. And I know you talked highly of it.
It's intense. You're gonna like it. You're gonna like it. Once you get in Manila, you're gonna love it. But on the way to it, oh my gosh, it's an eye opener. You never realize how blessed you really are until you drive up through there.
I've been in India, dude, and that was eye opening as well. So. You never know what to expect, but looking forward to it, Jonesy. Hanging out and seeing what the local SEO crowd are like. So should be fun.
Definite.
Lily, I own a premium one-word exact match high volume domain name. What would you avoid doing not to hurt the domain? Not local, but e-com. Happy to get your take.
A one-word EMD. It's high volume. What can you do to avoid not hurting it? All the stuff that helps it, if done in excess, could hurt it. So I think as long as you are conservative with all of your actions, maybe not the on-page and the internal linking, but all of your off-page strategies, traffic, I think moderation and being conservative is going to be the best way forward. It sounds to me, just reading this, like I assume you've been doing SEO for some time. Just be conservative with action. That's my best advice. Yeah,
I don't think there's much I can really add to that. Things that you could do to hurt the domain, is all, spammy links and, AI content and all this stuff, sheer aggression. I think any good business that's built is done naturally, takes time, and aim for quality over aggression, both in your link building and your content and everything else. I don't think you'll go far wrong. If it's really a premium domain name, one word, all that kind of stuff, you probably paid a few quid for it. So I certainly wouldn't be using any kind of jackassery, AI content, where you slam 500 pages up at a time and things like that. Any of that kind of stuff. Play on a $10 domain, testing out that stuff, but certainly not on a premium domain. Tread carefully. Jimmy is saying, when buying 301s, what should I be doing to set them up properly?
I think there's a plethora of things that you should be doing. However, I think the easiest, fastest way to go about doing this is, first and foremost, be very patient. The next piece I would take care of is set up with a very good CDN. Cloudflare is a reverse proxy. Go to Google or Amazon, Cloudflare, something where we're getting a dynamic IP. Make sure you're segmenting those. Set up the domain exactly how it was, and then give it a lot of time. See what falls, see what links dump, see what comes back. The next order of business I would do is I would launch 2 pages, all right, and see if they auto index, right? Do they show right up? Are they right inside the index? Where do they rank? How are they doing? Do they get traffic? The next order of business after that, if those go, I want to launch one more piece of content that's outside of the category. So like say this was about, I don't know, cars and cars, right? That was what the site was before. Create a post about tips for tires. It's kind of related, just something new, a brand new post that wasn't there previously, and see if it goes. If it auto indexes and lands on page 1, 2, or 3, and you're not dumping a bunch of domains, you got a winner. But this is time. I would give it time. We usually don't, I wouldn't bring it out for at least 45, 60 days. Because you'll notice you'll have something and it'll just start dumping links, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes you might see a winner, you get that baby up, it's not. It might look good, but it's not. So patience.
Yeah.
Hopefully it helps you.
But building it all out, all the old URLs, giving it time is the key part. I actually know who that is now, because I think I know who it is. From the Mastermind, someone asked a similar question today in the WhatsApp, and I think that's him, just wanting a wee bit more in terms of how to do it properly. And I think just going in and just doing a 301 redirect, you're not going to get any value there. That is where most people make a mistake, and that's where most people say 301 redirects don't work, because you've not got the stuff back in Google's index and all of those links fired up again. And if you don't do that part, then how could you possibly expect it to pass over some value to your website? So I think that's critical, and leaving it, Chris is saying 45, 60 days or whatever. I am in agreement with that. I'll leave it. I potentially even send some edits and lower cost links. I'm not saying spammy, but stuff that's cheaper that can potentially give that some more power than what it's got, as well, is all part of my strategy. Just give it a little nudge in the right direction. And when I say cheap links, as I say, I don't mean Money Robot or some gash like that. Some edits, something like that. Just try and get the referring domain kit. Just I think when I look at domains that have revived, Chris, Nigel Farage's being one of them. For me, the content velocity and link velocity are fucking important. If you like on Nigel Farage's, I don't really do link building on it, and what I've seen is that DR dwindling away. So
right.
For me, you need to give it some, and get the power going, heading up in the right direction rather than dwindling away. And I think content velocity and all that kind of stuff is vital. Any of my websites that are slipping are not, in terms of power, are ones that are not being updated and not have any regular link building going on. So for me, that part's important, to try and push it back up to a point, and then do the 301 redirect, and then you should get some value from it.
That's one more, just to give him more value. Other than the waiting game, launch. And it's interesting you said launch all the pages.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps we usually cherry pick, but then add disclaimers, terms of service, cookie. But the last piece that we'll do is we'll go for the backlinks, not referring domains, but we'll export the backlink list. Mm-hmm. Go to Majestic, Ahrefs, SEMrush, get that backlink list. Look for the pages that have the least amount of external links, and then run those through a indexer.
Yeah.
Yep. And then building links, of course. But I'm not going to start spending dollars until I know I have something. I'm not going to start building actual links. I'll do the indexer. I'll spend, a penny or two a piece.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to spend money until I know that those first two pages went in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think, what you're saying is makes perfect sense, because again, for James there or Jimmy, not every expired domain that you get is going to move. Some of them are dead. They've been burnt by some motherfucker before you. And that is where I think Chris is clever in saying, you don't want to spend dollars on something unless you see it moving. And also, just to clear up, when I say relaunch all the pages, if the website's got 500 pages, I ain't relaunching them all. I'll be relaunching the ones that had links pointing to them. Only, I'm not going to waste resource. And again, to reiterate, why would I not put up 500 pages? Because I don't know if the fucking thing's going to move. So why spend the time and effort into, building that out? And I think, you make that point, Chris. You may have to build 5 to get 2 good ones.
Right.
There is going to be ones in there that you can't, and it's not always obvious. There's ones there, like Chris said earlier. You look at it and you look at the referring domains and you check the history and it's all clean and tidy, and you're like, fuck, that's a gem. And then you get it, and the fucking thing, just Google does not like it for God knows what reason, or what's went on there. So it's not always that clear to the eye. Obviously, if you go in there and you check the Wayback Machine, you see that some dodgy, gambling or casino persons had it, and they've punched all their kind of content and links on there previously. That's burnt. That's gone. I wouldn't touch it at that point. So you need to look out for things like that as well when you're buying them. Look at the Wayback Machine and all that stuff. But Lily says, thank you guys. My goal is to rank it and sell it and maybe run some affiliate until I can sell it. Why the hell not? Monetize it in any way you can, whether that be affiliate, AdSense, both, multiple affiliates, whatever. Get the old cash coming in until you can sell it, because the more cash that comes in, the more you can sell it for. So yeah. Now, Eric McDonald is asking, how long does it normally take in SEMrush for your DA or AS metric to increase? I've seen traffic growth, conversions, etc. in my client site, and I've added guest posts and citations and press releases. So how often do you see that moving, Chris?
DA specifically, Maz's metric, you can see some really nice movement by building internal links. So wherever you built those referring domains or those backlinks, build internal links. Like build internal links around your site, your DA will rise. I think TrustFlow works very, very similarly. As far as when do I see it move? I mean, this is a slow progression. I think traffic, age, and referring domains is what really moves it. So it's just time. Like usually you can get incremental growth every 30 days, every 60 days, depending on what you're spending. If you're spending a boatload of money, I could go from 0 to 100 real quick, But a normal business website, citations, foundation links, maybe a guest post here and there, every 30 days, you'll be getting a couple more spots every month.
I will also throw in there, Eric, I obviously can't speak 100%, but I don't believe the data that tools give you is anywhere close to real time. So, the kind of traffic increase that you might see, for example, in September, might have actually been from traffic that was in August or July. I don't believe that the actual, I know the data is not fucking live that they're working from. So again, that is potentially why it may take time to see a proper increase, because I've worked with SEMrush in the past, and I was part of the people that they asked when they were talking about how should authority score be calculated, and it is math. It's just math. They're going to look at traffic rankings, and then come up with a score that they feel is relevant. And obviously, there's more to it than that. I don't know the exact science, and obviously, it could have been tweaked since I was involved in that conversation. But it is math, and I think pushing all of those other metrics up, more keywords, more traffic, and everything else is certainly going to see that increasing probably on all of the kind of DA Majestic and SEMrush and DR on Ahrefs. So yeah, but I wouldn't expect a huge amount, from citations and press releases. Sure, for with some guest posts and stuff, you see it nudging up. But when I launch a domain name, the first thing I do is get a press release and some citations just to get the referring domain count up, and I call it foundational link building, call it what you like. Do I see a huge increase in terms of DR, which is the one that I look at? Absolutely not. I think by doing that you might see it jump up to like a DR1. But I think the content and everything else also comes into play in the traffic. So and obviously more guest posts. So I don't believe that citations and press releases are big movers in those kind of metrics either. I think they're good things to do, though. I'm not dismissing the service at all. Massively think that those are have a great part in the overall process.
Sure.
Eric is asking, does citations in another country you're trying to target for traffic move the needle?
And no one thing is ever going to be the thing. It can help you move in the right direction. Getting links from that referring country can be helpful if I want to rank or get traffic in X country. So yes, it can help, but that's not going to be the only thing that does it. That's one piece, one penny in the bank, Yeah.
But again, Eric, I think all of these small things go towards part of the bigger picture. In terms of like me, for example, I just for what I do, I don't need to specifically target the UK. Most of my traffic actually comes from the US. I do get an element of traffic from India. So depending on what you're trying to service, absolutely, try and give yourself every opportunity to get that that traffic from those countries to help move the needle there. And it's no coincidence, I get a bunch of traffic from India, through YouTube and through my social media and through actually physically having been there. And those people go onto my website, and my keywords and everything have jumped. I do have rankings in India, and it's not that I specifically get citations in India or anything like that. I believe it's the traffic, that targeted traffic from that country is what helped pop that. And I'm not saying I rank for everything in India, by no means do I, but I do believe getting that traffic from specific countries does help. And I think links, citations, and anything else you can use to drive that traffic is going to be a key part of that. But guys, we are out of questions. We do have a lot of time left, approximately 25 minutes. So if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat. Even you, Jimmy, if you've got other questions, you might as well take advantage for anything that you're not clear on, anything you just want reaffirmed in your own head, things like that. Chris will ask me things as well off air. I ask him things. I think it's also just, what do you think of this, just to get a second perspective. So anything at all, questions, second perspective, or otherwise, please put it in the chat. But Chris, talking about India, you're speaking at, and have I asked you already? I've seen your face on a India website conference.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm planning on heading out in January. I don't recall the name of the conference, but in January I'm going to go out. I think with Chapid, isn't who invited me? Yeah. Should be fun. I've never been to India. Like, that's like at the top of the list. Was I there? Will it be fun? All right, let's do it.
Dude, that's how I pick them now. Is have I been there? Would I like to see it? And it's the Philippines. Jonesy's event as well. Never been, so that's an instant. Never been. That's always the first thing for me. And it's India's a lot of good people there, man. A lot of good people. Very welcoming, very friendly.
Dude, where did you see that?
Where the fuck did I see it? I know what it was. A friend of mine who is Indian. I met him when I was last in India. I've always kept in touch, and he was like, "Oh, Craig, do you mind if I put you forward for that event?" He says, "I'd love to, have you back in India and all that stuff." And I'm like, "Sure." I says, "What is it?" And I went on and I seen your fucking face on it. I'm like, "Fuck's sake." So it's
I'm
it was
stoked.
Dude, fucking take every opportunity you can. I would say to anyone, it's one, it's worth going to see to tick off the bucket list, but two, I think the people and the welcome you get there are second to none. Very, very friendly people. Believe it or not, Chris, I had people coming up to me, and I was only there for 2 days. They were giving me gifts and everything, like fucking mugs, with my son's face on it and shit like that. And I'm like, fuck. They're just very, very. You don't get that at every event. People coming up giving you gifts and can I take you out for dinner and fucking can I buy you a drink? Fucking dude, you were treated like a rock star. Dude, that's the best thing you can say. Like, the royalty is literally what it was like, and you're like, fuck, give me some more of this shit, which is why I've always probably wanted to go back.
What's your favorite country so far?
It depends on what you mean by favorite. In terms of experiences, I've been to a lot of places. My favorite country in the world would probably be Portugal, but for other reasons, I've been to Poland, for example, and I went there with a interpretation in my head that it was going to be cold, drizzly, and full of like dull people.
Yes,
dude, I have never had such a fucking laugh in all my life, and the weather, it was like 35 degrees, and it was up there with one of the better SEO conferences that I'd been to, because they took you out in a boat and all this shit as well. It was just, I went with a interpretation in my head and I was so fucking wrong. So Poland's
up there.
The scenery was like fucking insane, but again, Chiang Mai, I'm not. It was an experience. I wouldn't say in terms of the look of the country or the food, is up there with it, the best holidays. But again, great people, great memories, great times, all of that kind of stuff. So, there's certainly events there where our countries I've been to where you go, what a fucking memory and what an experience it was, but they're not necessarily, the Blue Lagoon or anything like that. You wouldn't go, whoa, this fucking looks amazing. So yeah, there's been a lot. Like I've been in Iceland, which was weird but amazing to see. It was like being in the moon. There's no trees there. They don't have trees in Iceland. Don't ask me why, but they don't have fucking trees there.
Iceland is green. Greenland is ice. Right?
So yeah, dude, I've been to. I actually counted it. There's a Facebook app. Can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but every time you go to a conference, you can say that you've been to that country. I think I've been to 66 countries in my time doing this speaking shit. So yeah, I've seen a lot, mate, and there's nothing that where I've went, whoa, I would never go back. Everything's always kind of, like India. It's certainly not the Blue Lagoon. It's certainly a fairly run down country, but the welcome you got and the friendliness of the people and everything else made it, you know, a magnificent experience. But, you know, it's so I take a lot from different events, and you know, there's some places you go, you know, it's not the nicest, but you know, you've had a great time,
Yes,
or it's absolutely stunning and the conference was fucking dog shit. You know, I've had that as well. So yeah, that's kind of
Portugal. Have you, speaking of conferences, have you heard from Mike recently?
Mike Pierce?
Yeah.
Nah, I need to check in with him, actually. I've not spoke to him for maybe a month or two.
Yeah. I haven't heard nothing from him or Jordan Pierce.
I don't know if Jordan keeps himself, you know, on the kind of lowdown now. I don't know if they, you know, I think Mike's pretty similar. I don't think, you know, they particularly, you know, go to events and all that stuff. I mean, I met Jordan. I was at an event with him last year. I think he was. I think he was at SEO spring training. He was at. I'm pretty sure he was at one of the Mastermind mansions and stuff. But again, I think they select and choose where they go. They're not like big. That's just my opinion. They might turn around and say, "Craig, you're full of shit," but that's just my interpretation from having you know, meeting the guys a bunch of times. I think they're not full on out there, and I don't think their intention is to do that. So yeah, but you should shoot them a message. It's always good to keep in touch. And
yeah, I was in Jordan's group and it was jumping, and then it just quieted up after a while. You know,
God knows, I don't know.
I do have one more random, kind of random question. What do you think about the difference between Slack and Discord?
I hate both. I absolutely hate both. Now, Discord, you know, if you held a gun to my head, I would pick Slack. You know, Discord, I just cannot take to. I've tried it. You know, even the guys in my mastermind wanted me to create a Discord channel, and no one likes it, dude. No one fucking likes it, you know. But certainly within my business, or one of my businesses, one of my business partners, Graham Grieve, who's an SEO guy, he's big on Slack, and you know, the people that work within that particular business are all on Slack. So I think it's good in terms of communication and stuff like that. But for me personally, I don't go on it. I just refuse. Right. And as much as Graham's like, dude, you need to go on it, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, just fucking phone me. If you need me for anything,
just text me. Yes.
I don't want to fucking go on Slack. It just distracts me, and it's just not for me personally. But I hate Discord with a passion, and Slack I don't particularly like, but I see the value in it, to you know, follow threads and see what's going on, and you know, in the workplace and stuff. And
but it's like clunky. Did you find any that are more intuitive, easy to use, and widely accepted?
No,
just WhatsApp, right?
WhatsApp's
that kind of keeps track, but
yeah, you obviously the search functionality in WhatsApp, you can search for stuff, but I would also argue that WhatsApp things can get lost. You know, certainly, you know, if you're in a mastermind group, I know you've got one, you know, someone can say something and you don't see it because, you know, there's another 35
that's
things
a fact.
going on. You know, WhatsApp for me blows my brains as well. You know, you're like, fuck, this is messy, but there is no perfect solution. But, you know, I have said in the past to folks, like, we'll try Discord. Like, fuck it, I'm not getting on, but, you know, if you want to all chat on here, I'll fucking set it up, you know. But, you know, I got resistance from even guys like Randy, or like, Craig, please no Discord, please.
No Discord.
So I think, you know, it's probably half and half. I think some people are just not fucking interested in these clunky platforms, and I'm certainly one of those.
I agree. So. Yeah, I was curious. Very, very curious. Man, we take a 1 week off? Jeez, they forgot about us.
I think I wasn't on at all last week, so Monday didn't go ahead either, or Wednesday, so it's fucking kind of killed us. But shit happens. But Jimmy has another question. He's just bought a few niche edits. Good to hear your do's and don'ts using them. The seller is only giving me one anchor per post. So what's your thoughts on that, Chris?
Edits. How close to the root is it? How's the internal linking? One anchor is perfectly fine. You know, if I'm getting edits on a asset or a page that's close to the root with good internal linking, I'm going to go exact, especially if there's traffic or traffic potential. I'm going to keep that anchor text up towards the top of the page. Yeah, I would be relatively mindful, though. I don't know where these came from or what quality they are. But generally, I like to link that type of stuff to supporting content, you know? So link it up to the supporting. But I don't know where it came from. I don't know what it is. But do's and don'ts, don't hammer a bunch of them. Just because they're cheap and powerful doesn't mean you need to double down. Make sure you're not always getting from the same vendor. Take a look at the overall external links. Like when you buy one from somebody, take a look at what they give you, run it through Ahrefs and see how many externals are on the site overall. Also take a look at the internal linking. But what do you got, Craig?
I mean, what I would also say is I have never seen a niche edit where you get more than one anchor per post.
That's fair.
You know, I think, you know, on a guest post, you know, you can obviously push for, you know, 2 or 3 or whatever the kind of standard is on a guest post. But, you know, certainly from a niche edit perspective, you know, they're literally going in, placing your link and fucking back off. You know, there's not multiple opportunities unless potentially you're speaking to the vendor and you're paying, you know, a double whammy, you know, or whatever. But, you know, I think Chris is right. I can't really say anything else. Mix your vendors up. And, you know, you can be more aggressive with your niche edits because they're powering something up that's not your primary source of income. So, you know, whether, you know, you like you said, Chris, you know, you would use exact match anchors and stuff. I know certainly in other parts of your link building, you're going to be less aggressive with that. But I think, you know, in terms of aggression and stuff, you can be a lot more aggressive, you know, with your niche edits as well. But I think it's good advice to drip them on, see what you need. You know, I think Chris hit the nail on the head. You know, because they're cheap doesn't mean you have to fucking, you know, go and buy 500 of them or whatever. So, you know, just chuck a few there, see where you land, and then you can tweak and you know, potentially get some other types of links as well, just to mix things up. So, yeah, you know, in terms of, I don't have any real don'ts. You know, I think niche edits are, you know, powerful. You know, I think it helps retain your website in the index. I think, you know, all of these things are all positive do's. And the big thing for me is I don't really have any don'ts. Like, don't do this, don't do that. You know, I think the other thing I would add actually is when it comes to niche edits, you can be pretty super relevant. You know, and I think with a lot of websites, you know, you get generic news websites or PR for certain amounts of links. You can get guest posts that are super relevant, but I think, you know, if you want to hammer home, you know, kind of relevance and stuff like that, you know, I think niche edits gives you that opportunity because there's tons of them out there. So just I wouldn't be grabbing generic ones. I'd be emphasizing the relevance side of things. You know, when you're trying to power something else up, because, you know, if it's a newspaper article or a LinkedIn article or whatever the hell it is, you know, try and fucking smash it with relevance. You get better results. Lee Bandoni are Fat Joe overpriced? I wouldn't say overpriced. Have you used Fat Joe, Chris? I think they're in line with the. This is where I'm not saying I hate your question, by the way, Lee, but I hate this type of question because what is overpriced to Chris Palmer and what is overpriced to the open market, where general people are buying things, are two very different things. So Chris will say to me that, that price there is a fucking robbing bastard. I'm not fucking paying X, Y, and Z, for that, because he knows the going rate for stuff. And obviously, Fat Joe are not necessarily targeting SEOs. They're targeting the wider marketing community, and I think their price reflects the kind of industry standard for that type of work, and obviously for the size of business that they are. But I think, if you're going to ask someone like me or Chris Palmer, they're going to say, get to fuck, I'm not paying the full market price. We're wheelers and dealers. We want the fucking vendor. We want the guy that's giving us the rock bottom price. So I think got to be fair to Joe there. He's well quoted and does great work and stuff like that as well. So it really depends on where you're at in your business. Do you want to be wheeling and dealing with vendors, or do you want Fat Joe to take all of that shit away from you and pay the market rate? And again, I'll also say to with regards to Chris Palmer, he undercharges. That I do believe this undercharges. He could get more. So that's the there's both ends of the spectrum there, where you're going, Chris, you can't be selling fucking edits at that price, or you can't be selling this at that price, and because it's not what the market's realistically charging. So, but if Chris wants to sell it at that price, and he can get his name out there and get volume and all that kind of stuff, then happy fucking days. They each to their own. So yeah, it's a very complex answer, Lee, but they do. I like the guy Joe Davies. Met him a few times, and I think he's got a good business model there. So yeah,
he's definitely doing his thing. There's no question.
Oh, they're
everywhere.
He's scaled motherfucker up, and this isn't even a kind of new thing. Fat Joe have been around for a long time. They're not. Absolutely. They have consistently grown and grown and grown. So I think that says it all about the kind of quality. You get fly-by-night people selling shit, and they're gone within a year. So I think that also reflects on Joe and his setup there. And he's also not fat. I don't know where the fat part comes from, but he's actually quite a skinny bloke. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Lee. But we do have about 7 minutes. If you guys do have any questions, throw them in the chat. Otherwise, me and Chris can just talk back and forth on other stuff if you want. But that's what we do with Randy and Holly. We talk amongst ourselves. And I actually had a guy, I was talking to a guy on Twitter there, Chris, as well. I know a fair few people who listen in the background, and they're like, I'll ask questions if you want, but I just enjoy listening. I'm like, nah, don't ask questions if you're, cooking your dinner. There was a chap that was cooking his dinner, and he's like, I always listen while I'm cooking the dinner. And I'm like, just you cook your dinner, dude. But
just cook your din.
But we do need something to chew on. But so Chris, going back to the Slack thing, what are you currently using to communicate with people in your business? Like, if you're not using Slack or Discord, what the fuck are you using?
Well, I'm not using Slack or Discord. So for internal teammates, other than SPP, like if it's something about a order, we use SPP. If we're just talking to one another, we're utilizing Skype. So Skype and SPP, the dashboard. And then as far as customer communication, I try to steer clear of the email. So I have Talk, which goes directly to my phone or my brother's phone. And then, of course, like ticketing, which is always fun. People like immediate response. So,
yeah. Did you ever, the reason I'm asking, we had a conversation probably 2 or 3 years ago, where we were talking about the ticketing side of things in particular. And, I think, I might have mentioned something like Zendesk, and then you tried something else and all that kind of stuff. What did you settle on in the end there?
I settled on Freshdesk because it had all the functionality. Really what I was trying to accomplish was Zendesk. I wanted Zendesk is what I wanted, but the cost just wasn't there. Plus there was some functionality I wanted. So cost plus function, I went with Freshdesk. Plus they had a whole suite. So I tried that. It's just it creates more jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it creates jobs for me plus new tasks for other people. When really all I wanted was automating my email, right? And a nice, easy way to have a ticketing system that when a question comes in and I answer it, I only have to answer it once. It automatically goes to a database.
Yeah.
If somebody asks again, it gives it to them.
Yeah.
So Freshdesk is not for me. I wish they weren't so expensive. There is a tool that works very, very well. Man, it's going to drive me crazy. Is it called not live chat? Not intercom. It's intercom.
Intercom.
I think intercom does very, very well, not only for the live chat and functionality, but as far as if you answer a question one time, it'll keep it for you, Yeah. So, and then I've tried all the little AI ones, right? Like Apple Pie.
Yeah.
Like where you're creating the database. I tried that. I tried Einstein. They work, but they're just not, if anybody throws in a question that's even slightly different, you have to have all the variations in order to be able to throw this answer. So then again, there's the work again, So, yeah. But yeah, you can alleviate a lot of things when you're not cheap.
Yeah.
Like if I wasn't such a tight person, I would hire a full-time person, and their only goal is integration. Like just do the in-between, answer the tickets, do the email, do the text. Like you don't make any dollars.
Yeah.
You're just staying busy.
Yeah.
Which is why I can never output, because to me it's like, well, it's not a direct moneymaker. But as time is progressing, I'm realizing, but what are you leaving on the table? So lessons.
That guy I went to do the podcast with last week, who I showed you, I'll not say his name yet, but because the podcast's not out, he has got 5 assistants, and that's all they do is do all that kind of running about, backwards and forwards and managing different businesses, because he's got his fingers in a number of different pies, and he's basically got an assistant for each business who deals with, booking meetings and dealing with his emails and everything else. He does not fucking do a thing in terms of that type of stuff. I'm not saying he doesn't do a thing, but in terms of answering to people and all that, it's always an assistant. It's never him himself. You just can't get close to this guy, unless you're going up to do a podcast. And even when I was emailing back and forth for the arrangements to go, it was all the assistant dude. He was not doing shit. He just literally rocked up at the time and done his thing, and then boom, away. So and for me, looking at a man like that, you're like, he's doing it right. It's you could look at it and see the fucking cost of 5 assistants and all that, but it's pretty interesting, man. How just seeing a guy like that, the setup that he's got and stuff like that. And I had the chance to talk to him off air as well. And you know, yeah, that's how the big boys do it.
And then what is it a specific tool or just multiple people?
Oh, you just get multiple people, and you know, they're I don't know what tools they're using or anything like that, but you know, certainly, you know, if I email him, you know, it's his assistant that he's never replying, dude. He is not fucking replying. You know, it's his assistant.
There, though.
You know, the assistant will say, "Oh, I'll speak to him for you. I've got a meeting with him tomorrow. You know, I'll ask him the question and get back to you." So, you know, what he tends to do is he must check in with his assistants at a certain time of the day and say, what do I need to know? What do I need to answer? What do I need to do? You know, and he can agree or disagree on that. And then, you know, if he's saying, I want more information, you know, the assistant will go away and do it. So, you know, he literally says he has people doing everything other than wiping his ass. So it's, you know,
people.
Yeah. So fair play.
Fair play.
But Honey is asking, does complete change of URL, will it impact ranking for local website, considering there's a 301 redirect using the htaccess file, currently getting 100 unique visitors a day? So completely changing the URL and doing a 301 redirect, Chris, what is that going to do for your rankings?
That will, in the short term at least, hinder your rankings. You know, I'd be very, very mindful. You're getting 100 unique visitors. Where are they coming to? Don't change that URL. If you want to change internal pages or, you know, your blog section or change something else, fine. But if you have a page that's producing 100, 1,000, 2, 3, I wouldn't go editing it. Nah. Yeah. Page age matters too. Google is a product. You know, building page age is a huge factor. So
let me give you this one example, Chris. Let's say that page does get a lot of traffic and, you know, it's history and all that shit. But it's fucking the wrong URL. Like, you know, it's not optimized, if you like. You know, would you still say, fuck it, I'm just going to settle for this?
So we have a page that's already indexed, getting traffic, but the structure isn't quite right.
Yeah.
But it's already a done deal, though. I'm already getting traffic. I'm indexed. I wouldn't, unless like the whole site, like this is the only page that's doing it, right? Yeah. Like, unless I need a rehaul anyway, I would just leave it. Yeah. Sometimes I run across this all the time. It's not perfect, but we're already getting traffic. We're indexed. We're already page 2. Like, yeah, it's not optimal, but it's not in order to go ahead and redo it.
Nah, I think you've got to weigh up the risk against the reward. You know, if you're already getting traffic, you're already ranked for it, do you really need to change the URL? For whose sake? You know, customers don't really look at the URL at all. So, yeah, hopefully that answers it, Honey. And Lee says, how did you bag him? That's some guest. You don't ask, you don't get, Lee. That's all I can really say. And I chanced my arm and say got lucky. I was as surprised as anyone to bag him. But yeah, you know, I think he's a big believer in giving back to people and you know, helping people. So I thought, fuck it, you know, he's in Scotland, why not? And he agreed, and I think. Happy days. So you just don't ask, you don't get is what I would say. There was nothing special. He wasn't paid any money or anything like that. You know, just do you fancy it? And he's like, yeah, sure, fuck it. And I'm like, really? Really? Me? So awesome. Yeah, but yeah, I'm glad to have got him. But that comes out on Monday. And Lee goes on to say, I'm in a TikTok from the Vamps yesterday. How should I use it to our advantage as validation of our business? What is the Vamps? Is that a band?
I don't know what that is. Yeah. Vamps. TikTok. Let's go see. The Vamps. Anniversary tour. Yes, it is.
I
Yeah,
thought
600,000 subs or followers.
I would be hooring that around the place. It's no different from me with the podcast guest that I've got. You know, that will be thrown around every fucking platform I can get, you know, shorts and everything, you know, taking advantage of, you know, that person's popularity and stuff like that. So, you know, again, with the vamps and everything else, you know, put it out there and you know, use your hashtags, the vamps and all that kind of stuff. But again, you know, if you were just walking past them and then you're saying, you know, I'm at the vamps event, come and get my ears cleaned, you know, it's going to look a bit dodgy. So I don't know the context, but ping me, dude, and you know, I can look at it and give you a more perfect opinion. You know, my big thing is, how can you transfer being at a gig to promoting your ear cleaning business without the person in the vamps getting their ears cleaned, if you like? You know, it's very difficult. You know, I could be at you know, the Taylor Swift concert and then somehow, you know, get her in the background and say, you know, come to me by SEO. People would just be like, fuck off. I'm not having that. That's so I you know, without knowing the context of the video, I don't know, Lee, but you DM me, dude, and I'll happily give you my opinion. But on that note, we are actually 6 minutes over, which I was not expecting today. But yeah, we will not be back next week because I am mid-air on the Wednesday. But yeah, we'll be back the week after that. So yeah, we will see
Hopefully
you
it's
then.
booming.
Yes,
It's a
hopefully.
little slow.
Yeah.
But thanks everyone though.
Yeah, thanks for coming along, guys. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. I do
See you
check out
then.
the news guy. See you later.